This episode I'm going to do, well, it's going to be kind of interesting. This is literally going to be searching. I'm going to be searching for information. So there's going to be a lot of rummaging and stuff like that, but I don't know. I'm just doing it. Search this shit. We're in the process of finding all the information for Quinlan for the episode about Quinlan. And I'm just kind of going page by page. I went to find through the yellow, what is it? Notepads. And I kind of want to just read out of them if I find something interesting. Because I always have a thing where I'm searching for something. And then I end up like, oh, wow, that's kind of cool. But I can't think about that right now. So I actually want to take this opportunity to just read out random bits that I'm scanning through that I think are interesting that I want to use in the book that I forgot about. So I don't have the order for these anymore. So I can't tell you that again. This was written in this day, and this is the first one out of the 10. I don't know. But what was the first thing that just kind of I thought was rather interesting? The old ones. That's about Quinlan. And that's his description to people. He's talking about something. Okay. Here's an old concept of Nacum's that I perhaps could be something. I don't think so, but we'll see. Nacum follows along for the knowledge of a ruin that is rumored to have a tome that holds great knowledge of power. A mad young fellow who willingly throws an ally in front of him in combat. There is the infection of man that Atrovia speaks about. This plague that needs to be ended. This is going to be much bigger when it comes to the later books, when Atrovia does get involved, and it's an all-out war between man and May. What could they have been doing that stirred the pot in society? People's imagination triggered by the very thought. This is about the fools in the East. This one's cool. The host of man. The one who hunts his dreams. Anvir. What are the undead? Men who only remain in memory. Anvir takes them, and with the darkness creates were originally called the half-dead. Quote, who once perished from this realm. Like a worm, Anvir searches the fears of man and steals the souls of those who passed on, the ones we loved, and use them for the Whisperer's army. A foul thing indeed. The Whisper cannot be stopped, for his power grows with every movement, with every moment. Every man, all perish, every stolen soul. The weakness of man allows the disease to spread, for his thoughts so easily ingrained in fear. This is our problem. With man, only the destruction of Voss is inevitable. They strayed too long ago, from the wave of the Creator. Cursed they became when they looked to usurp their own Creator. That portal was blasphemous to the world and the next. It is now time we put them down, for who knows if their wickedness will put an end to us as well. That sounds like a viewpoint of an Anaku. Our war on mankind long ago almost caused the largest genocide our people had ever witnessed. Yet we grew stronger. For years we were in hiding, adapting, changing. From nothing to now the mightiest people known to the whole world. We have power that has never existed, advancements in technology that have taken us from our darkest moments. And now the power is in our hand. The evil must be contained. This is our duty to vanquish our true enemy. It never was the darkness. That's the that's the plague they spread amongst themselves. It is man. Honestly, that could be... It gives me an idea to say that, like, the Etrovians, which in my mind are Anaku, have these strange technological advancements because of their lack of magic in the world that they have. They're disappearing. Somehow their advancements in technology have made this sort of synthetic magic that they use. It's a possibility that could be going on in some way. I don't know how or what it is, but maybe we could see if we could find a connection to Etrovia and the Serpentine Order, and see if maybe the Serpentine is acting on the behalf of Etrovia as well, almost like they're a secret order created through a coalition of Anakume or something like that. That might be something interesting going on. So it's not only just Lyria, but it's also Etrovia as well. So there's a coalition against mankind, Lyria, Etrovia. I'm trying to remember. Was Dubois man? I can't recall. I'm not sure. That one we'll have to figure that out. But an Anakume coalition against mankind, and a group called the Serpentine Order being used. That way, when you point that out, it'll be like the picture gets bigger and bigger. You know, like holy shit, the Serpentine were the bad guys all along. Uh-oh. Destroy them. Oh, wait a minute. They were just the pawns of these guys. Shit. And then it just gets like that. That way there's a big climax. So that's something we're going to do then, to keep that in mind. So, jeez, I have too much. All right. This episode's called Searching. Number 1, Anaku Coalition slash Serpentine. Okay, that's number 1. The idea is I don't really want to talk about... I will try not to talk about Quinlan on this one. I'm really trying to just keep this about... everything not Quinlan. That segment finishes with, the room was enthralled by the words of blank. For in their hearts they knew he spoke the truth. In a time where evil has taken the land, the threat grew nearer, closer than was expected. It was here. It was here, the master hall of the Serpentine Order, where they gathered. Ooh, there's the guidance from beyond. That's going back into like super old lore. Guidance from beyond, and I'll say slash hilarious. Sometimes easy words. It's amazing how they just like, how do you spell fading? That one's an interesting one. Okay, I don't know what this is. Oh, this is the first draft of Cordis. Yeah. I'm not gonna need to read that. That's me trying to figure out how to make Cordis work. Yeah, and I think it literally. This is the one where check one Ellerin happens. King. Yeah, that's end of part 1. So that one's good. All right, next one. Augury. The art of foretelling events by signs of omen or prediction. Auspice, an omen to future. Protection, possible influence. Good lord. Setting out work, boulder pattern. Oh, that's template. Just random words that apparently I was just trying to remember. That's what I went to that. Let's see, red is rain. Songwriting. South, early Iron Age, late Bronze Age, trying to talk about that. What madness drives Cordis? Is he driven by some sense of duty, or is he enslaved to a master? For there are masters of Atreus. Whatever the fuck that is. Cyprus is looking to investigate truth outside of his master's gaze. God, this is when it gets loud. I gotta, like... If you talk down into this fucking mic, it gets super fucking loud. Like, almost too loud. Like, crinkly loud. Nacon brings his master and his purpose to Eris's attention, and this sets off a distrust in Eris, to which he confronts Cyprus to direct his real purpose. Once Cyprus shows he is... Okay. Motives of Nacum. Two journeys, Nacum and Eris. Okay, yep. I didn't really do that. Knowledge. I thought she knew for so long she had done so wrong in that I think this is the story of the damned. The woman that I mentioned that one time. Though she knew for so long she had done such wrong, such an evil act was committed for a time spanned by many years. It was in that moment when she had lost and no escape was assumed. In that moment, freed from the torment, she wept the somber tears and wailed out, reverberating in the room. For she realized all she had done. Trapped now, free, she has become. She must die. Thus begins the unraveling of what person may do when faced with true fear. A darkness explored that uncovers the seedy underside of abuse and murder. When I wrote that, I could just see this woman who was kind of like in the, I wouldn't say a basement, but like in some sort of underground facility or something. I don't know. She seemed to be there. And I think this happened in a dream. God damn, it's so fucking loud. Anyway, it happened in a dream. And basically, I remember her being approached by these armed men or something. I don't know what they were. Guards? I don't know. And they were approaching her, and now it's even quieter. What the fuck, man? Let me just... Anyway, she was approached by these armed men, and she just began to cry. And I didn't see it, but I knew that she was the head of some sort of disgusting torture. Like, I don't even know. Like, how would you word it in real life? I don't know. Like the head of an internment camp. Like, she oversaw a lot of very, very wicked things. And she was put down. But she felt a sense of freedom. Like she herself was a prisoner of murder and hate and rape and destruction. So in a sense, like, her tears she wept were somber in those moments, but also release. Like, she wanted to be freed from this dark thing that she had been doing. And that was the story of the damned. And I wanted that to be now. I sometimes teeter on either the Anakame side or the human side, but if it's on the human side, she is the one who, I could either say, was the head of this, like, insane asylum that they send these monarchs to, these used up monarchs, or she was this kind of intermediate place where Quirtus brought the young ones, mostly the young ones. I'm not quite sure yet, but that's where the hatchling of an idea came from. That little thing right there, that's kind of cool to find that. Motherfucker. They are middle. Main. Themes and just the importance of song. Yeah. You know, here's a quote. I don't know what this is, so let's find out together. You know, from what I have been gathering here, the influence of the keepers were more widespread than I could have imagined. Yet not known in the circles of nations. What? It was as if they had an almost underground following. Alisar looked on into the night, shooting an annoyed glance at Eris. Why are you reading those myths for? The keepers never existed, or at least as you read them. Sorry. For the keepers, they never existed, or at least as you read them. The way you read that they have existed. Whatever. Then why is it that all knowledge of them has been almost wiped from records and tales? Save for these ancient tomes, which I might add, are in remarkable condition for their age. Well, there you go. Maybe they're fakes, made to look real, an illusion from ages ago. I don't know. But it sounds like an elaborate hoax, probably created by a group of lonely monks. Eris rolled his eyes in disgust, slamming the book shut. What do you believe then? Honestly. What the hell do you hold on to? Alisar smiled, looking up at the stars in a stretch. And then that's where it stops. That's later Eris journeys. Ooh. He's gonna grow older. Grow old with me. What is this? As far as I see, you end up wandering far from me. 'Cause in the end I'll wind up feeling free, and you'll wind up causing casualty. At least as far as I can see. Huh. Must be some shitty song. The shroud and people fear. The shroud and people's fear for it to be real. What? What? Writings. Okay, number 2. Completed. The dream sequence gives the audience a chance to unlock the story, lower and more importantly, character development. Eris dreams of the trials of the Forgotten King and his fall. For the path, the Forgotten King, and Eris are spiritually connected. The Forgotten King's journey. One must understand the known and the unknown. Like two different realms, they hold their own truths, with the middle being balance. Going too deep into one realm opens the possibility of losing access to the other. Therefore, you are trapped. This is like almost the beginning of the manifested unmanifestation that's within the realm of life that leads you to a higher consciousness. That's kind of cool. In the midst of the story, the brewing of a political rebellion has its beginnings. An unknown man rising to power, only known as the monarch. He's in the meeting hall, persuading local thugs to help his push into the political world. He was one of the survivors of the sweeping darkness. What was the sweeping darkness? It began with greed, as far as man would know. Deep within the once beauteous Trinity Forest, in its heart was the city of Intrin. In this time, the Inakame, the original people of Voss, ruled over the vast expanse of forest and mountain. The one to rule over the Inaku was known as, oh my god, he's got a name. This is not the Forgotten King's name. This is the king of the Inaku. This is the husband of the voice of life. And then the father of Quartus. His name is Preldum. Preldum? I don't know. Prel line Du, and I think it's an N or it's an M. Preldun. We have his name. Holy shit. What needs to be understood was that Inakame had a power that man does not possess, and Preldun was the most powerful amongst his people. Quote, before man came, all was right. It was until the weakness of humanity created greed, something we did not foresee. That sounds like a viewpoint of the beginning, man. That's kind of cool. Here we go. This is the beginning of the force. Thought equals force. Philosophy equals energy. If I'm to take the concept of the force that I was speaking of, and also connecting it with the monarchs. Oh, shit, hold on. Yeah, fuck. Hold on. Anyway, if we connect the monarchs with the idea of the force, yeah, then that means, as I was stating it before, the monarchs are basically created to guide mankind. They're to be the consciousness of mankind, right? Because human beings are a force. It's a use of power. And if you're going to control the use of power, you have to have philosophy, interject some sort of belief into these people with the head of a state. Now, the way that they're going about this is they're balancing it with it's kind of like almost like a puppet king in a sense, because what's going on is you have the people that are the force, and you have this king, this monarch, who is he's supposed to represent the consciousness of mankind. If he's able to tap in and find out what they truly need, he's always shifting his balance into a perspective that is needed in that moment. He is becoming exactly what those people need to keep them docile, to keep them, I don't know, what's needed, I guess. We'll just put it bland like that and blank. Honestly, it's probably the same thing happening in real life. So if people are a force, then through a force, you must guide it, because it is almost like a body without a brain. No. It's weirder than that. It's just a human without a consciousness. And so they will do destructive acts to destroy things, to be a workforce, to be I don't know, anything. When humans band together, you notice this kind of like hive mind mentality and flocking in groups and stuff like that. So that's the concept of a just philosophy that has become a thing. I remember talking about that before, like what the force is and all that. Now you connect that to the monarchs, you're basically saying that they're giving up the understanding of pathfinding. I don't know, blazing the trail, like going ahead by constantly focusing on the consciousness of mankind and being whatever that needs. Now, whatever that needs is dictated upon the philosophy. So through that philosophy is where energy is created. Now, replacing energy with magic, you could say that in some ways that mankind feeds the magic, right? Because if they are naturally gifted with this magic, because the creator being in the forgotten, the forgotten king being in the realm of creation, then they're all imbued with this slight touch of magic. So if they have this slight touch of magic, it is a good idea to drain from them as well. So that's where the philosophy comes in. So they can get this energy to come back to the king. And it's like a charging device. You plug it into the wall and it charges it until when it's fully charged is when you can access the Forgotten King. And through that, that's when the Valanders come in and they do what they're going to do. In all aspects of life, force, or forced, is destruction. And in certain eyes, the force of the people must be used as a tool to further some sort of gain. Yet a guiding hand must have the know-how to control this, must have brain and law to produce results. With the understanding of the force and its immense power, they form the idea that only under law and order could this power not only be destructive, but creative, based to use a new society, with philosophy as its new focus in mankind, to rise out of the muck. And just as it has been said before, whatever happened to this? Well, as all things in this world, time, it quickly turned to greed. Whereas the human race looked to move forward, they required a noble and just cause. In time, the defeat by the terror had caused, thus showing the light for the path to be followed. Furthering the want of man, this spread the greed that followed. So the furthering of mankind's consciousness through the monarch, let's riff that for a little bit and see what we can come up with. Okay, I'm comfortable. So we're talking about consciousness of mankind, and there's an issue with it coming tampered with. Clearly, you could say that is indeed the Valanders, kind of their influence that's kind of coming into this situation. In the beginning, as it was understood, the force of the people was an untapped power. Now, through them, if you could manipulate this force, you could use it in a destructive or a creative manner of some description. Now, being that there are these untapped potential in these groups of people, a very watered-down version of the Dume, then what you're going to want to do is use this power to further some sort of agenda. Now, at the head of this, in the olden days, way, way back, it would have been understood that there needs to be a shared common goal to unite a people, to unite an ideal. So how do you band people together under an ideal? Well, it's pretty easy to do that when your fucking creator is stuck in the realm of creation. When you've established that he should not be there, and by whom and by how, it is unknown as to how they started to view that this is actually a negative thing. But when they understood this, they had a shared common goal. What that goal could be is to say, well, he doesn't belong there. This is a problem. He is our creator. We are stuck in this toil. Now, before the Valanders came, before the Slop King, what was their mission? How hard is it for them to access this realm, to enter it? How have they thought about saving their king? So that's kind of questions that's got to be answered at some point, because I know we need a clear definition of the beginnings of this. What was understood that as far as I can say, is Odysseus. Since they had just caused, he led his people to the Holy Land. And after that he perished. And then sometimes his journals were found, and this began the whole train. So I think it was because of... I'm trying to remember where I wrote this. The Agerics Chantry. You know what? I think I have that, if I remember correctly. The Agerics Chantry was created by the Keeper Order in the year 458 as the understanding of an expansive life for man. It was the understanding that the world is but one realm in a continuous of passages and trials that extend long after death. They coined it the Great Circle by the prophet Odysseus. When he spread his knowledge into his people, the circle worked as it sounded. When one dies, they pass to the next stage of life, then so on and so on until they find themselves back into the land of the living. This is the circle within the circle. The problem is when the Forgotten King became trapped in the center of also known as the realm of creation, where the Creator inhabited, this has now caused no relief in the gauntlet. It's a grave mistake and has thrown all realms in chaos. There now can be no relent in this passage. The toil. The Force is going through a constant grinding process to which the stamps on the chains of life, the grooves, the what is that called in a chain when it gets nicked and the metal's got marks on it? That's happening in the chains of life. It's causing a problem. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to implement a philosophy to these people. And that philosophy is based on the trials of the Forgotten Kings. You're going to honor your Creator through the trials of his life, right? It's to keep you at one with him. It's to keep you united. It's to keep him in your mind, so you have that kind of beacon for their magic to find you. You are the beacon. That's the idea that having everyone follows one idealism, because they can be easy access, like sheep. So if you're doing that, you create, as we've talked about before, you create the barrier, the concept of the barrier, living a good life, fog of lies, the great circle, probably some other variations like that, that keeps ground in their minds their purpose. And with that purpose, hold on, let me fucking find the goddamn folder. Yes, so with that purpose, they've become these kind of conduits to access, because of the I guess the Valanders at that point. I mean, if we're talking about later in history. So these people are used definitely as tools, recycled tools, because they keep going back and back and back, and they sound like they are the machine. So the concept that human beings are this driving force behind a philosophy is definitely true, that they keep the wheels going. The philosophy of even the king is kept alive through the people, because in their memories, that's where the idea lies. Now, I mean, you could say the same thing when it comes to honoring ancestors and all that, especially the influence of the Valanders, is how you keep the memory of your loved ones alive. But in reality, that's the Defau. Well, they used to be called the Defau, now they're called the Half-Dead. That's where they're used in many ways, pulled from the ancestors of the past. Since there is a gauntlet, since there is a constant repeat, because we are living the life of the immortal as mortals. So what that means is, instead of just never dying, we die and keep coming back. There's a missing piece there, and it's resetting. It's just something's not right about the system. So, the force guided by the great cause and held by the ruling class allows the tyrannical views of the lords to surface and alter the motives of man's consciousness. Through the power of giants that builds the fortifications of tyrants are embodied through their armies. Now, I think obviously it's not just the Valanders who are making this wicked thing. I think honestly it's many things. Even just mankind's fucking just own greed. And so you remember when I was reading the thing about how the Inaku view mankind's greed in this world and how it is this thing that only mankind carries. The only thing that they hold within themselves, and how it's a curse in the world. That is what furthers our ambition. Not to say the Inaku don't have darkness within them. I would say revenge is what they definitely really hold on to, if I'm honest. It's hard to say, though. But yeah, the idea of the Force is borrowed from some real life philosophy, clearly, to further a concept that I'm portraying. What that concept is at its whole, I couldn't tell you, but with its small things, there's definitely something there. Through the consciousness of mankind, you can find the answers to everything that's around you. This whole world and what's going on, It's funny that everyone thinks the answer is outside. Or in a group. But it's just in your head, why would you have consciousness if it was outside? And there's no point of having a consciousness. I'm going to pour myself a drink. Hold on. Honestly, I think that's through this process is where the concept of calibrated control comes from. The idea that to take away certain feelings and certain emotions to, I'm going to air quote, protect their people from the spread of the darkness is definitely connected in all this. Now, calibrated control is not something that, you would see written down on a wall. Come in here. This is where calibrated control happens. It's definitely something that happens behind the scenes. Something that is not talked about. This is not what was it? Some hour of hate or something, 30 minutes of hate, 10 minutes of hate, I don't remember. That was in, that novel, 1984. It's not that on the nose. It's not so simple. It's kind of more hidden, I should say. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I should read that. No, just skip it. Every mention the fudge time. That's the Inya. When the rain hits the four... Hold on. What is the four mountain? When the rain hits before the mountain, along the lonely pass, it is absorbed by the dirt. And in an unexpected reason, it forms the base of valium. This powdery product is extracted by the slave Inya. This is for the mankind, I don't know, or for the p.2, for this, I don't know. Symphony Citadel, where the magic is harnessed. Through sound is creation. With the base powder, the alchemists mix it with the blood of the chosen one, who was touched by darkness. The rumor of the stone men intrigued Cyphers when he heard it being discussed by the spirit mancer. Was I always working on this? The spirit mancer. The rumor of the stone, men of stone, intrigued him. And that's connected to another situation going on in Symphony Citadel where they're using those kids, those touched ones, their blood, and this powder. And then maybe the ones of stone were some other project, or it's what happens, like I said, when man and May mate. Not like that mate, I shouldn't say that. When something's mixed with them too. That's what the men of stone. Some of them were test subjects, other ones were forced test subjects. But clearly, the Serpentine Order are doing whatever the fuck it takes to kickstart this fucking, I should say to stop this connection into the darkness that's going on. The disappearance from the realm. Sounds like they're doing many things. Eustace, the magistrate of Intwar, is one of the highest members of mages, under the supervision of some p.2 elders. Inside a Symphony Citadel. He comes from the southern lands of Ansar, the village of Belgaries. There was a saying there, the south soul of motionless scale. Though he never explained it past, it sets the tone. It's like a joke for a musician. He was a master in understanding of sound and frequency. This place sounds fucking wicked. The Oroton, masters of the aura. In order to touch the lotus feet, to reach the height of man's potential, or pinnacle, the exploration of consciousness is to touch the realm of the Creator. The journey is an escape. That's got to be kind of like a different interpretation of the religion, of the Adrix Chantry. To touch the lotus feet, essentially. To basically reaching man's, this says, to reach the height of man's potential, they must explore consciousness. To touch the realm of the Creator. Maybe that's within a concept and idea how to free the Creator. They have to kind of transcend this realm in their own minds. And it's very limiting within the Adrix Chantry, so they're trying to find their own way to do this. This is kind of like this outlawed magic. Because it's not being safely done in the confines of what we deem, And at the same time, you get the what are those guys called? Damn it, the Valanders. Like if they're not involved, then that's definitely an issue. So that could be an outside source of what's going on. But I forgot about Eustace, the magistrate. The magistrate of Intwar, on the sound. Intwar is kind of it's, I don't want to say logo, but it's whatever the fuck that's called. Its image is that of like the winding. It's not the winding serpents. It's like sounds winding together. And he's somehow fucking with sound. Because it says that sound and frequency are... Where did I see that at? Through sound is creation. So somehow, I don't know, that's another fucking thing. So you got the sound of creation being messed with down in 464. You have the blood and the powder mixing, this base powder of this magical element when it comes to the stealing of the kids. And then the third thing is you got this connecting of man and May. That much we do know about that's happening down there. That's kind of cool, dude. I mean, it's not really that cool, but... A long time sitting up and it needs to be cleaned. What is this? Okay. Once it's beautiful, then the truth comes out. When it gets control, it murders everyone. Could be because it's a realm that man only passes to when he's dead. It must have us dead. An organism that is only doing its job. Yeah, ideal for king. A man's lust caused all the events unfold and doom of his people. The idea of like what King Henry did and how that sowed the seeds of atheism, I think. Thought you want to inject Eris with... Okay. Forgotten people. Ooh, to make Eris a man of stone. Ooh. Mages will get on a drug to induce the visit to the other realm. Ooh, so what if that's the powder? Induces this visit to the other realm, and somehow letting of the blood when they're in the other realm causes something to happen. That's interesting. Cypress's journey. Yeah. Central Hall. What do we got here? What's this say? Gaia? Looks through reveal. It can't be Gaia, it says him. Break down the stubborn nature. Oh, yeah. The mighty forge of two pillars. Autumn? Yeah, Autumn. It's the two pillars. And there's mighty forge, and Plotus, and his followers, and the underling. Oh, that's the name of the underling. Prophet. The undergod Plotus and his followers, underlings, with his child, the underling prophet. Plotus is he's an Aeon. So it goes Plotus, Beovas, and the Forgotten King. We just found our third third Aeon. And his creation are the underlings. That story about those beautiful elves. I don't know if I'll ever have the name of the Forgotten King, honestly. Is that ever going to happen? The Age of Kramos. In the beginning were the people of the forest, who lived nomadically for over 2,000 years. The freezing of the canopy and long winter began the Bathos Age, age of our hold. In the Epic of Tan, it speaks of a great exodus from the darkened forest. Large group of people traveled outward into what is now the Bragal Valley. A settlement formed, and tribes of families took land and settled throughout the Bragal, and as far south as the Dragal Heights. The clans began as follows. And I didn't have names for them. I just have the clan of Tan, which settled in Brava. In the new village of Tan, the sophistication and ancient techniques of harsh survival continued, and the villages flourished for thousands of years, as well as the other village tribes. Trade was set up between his village and those beyond Drego Heights. All along the valley, Brava grew, mostly agricultural, farms and pastures. Ogres. Path. What it means. Stone are awakening the forgotten king's spirits so that he may live and escape. He needs Eris, his son. The third dimension is where we look to find truth within and without ourselves. In reality, we bring everything we fear and hold into the others what we wish we were, whether for good or ill. Okay, that's found. Some of these are thankfully just Pathia, Tykrot, Autocrodius. The scene of Eris and Jahir. The chamber. I feel like the word is so empty. Oh, yeah. That's old stuff. Chalenval. Don't need stops at the... Yeah. Should have changed to Titus. What could possibly happen at the council hall? Titus. The darkness of man. Taxius. How to name places. I wrote that down. The Murph. People of the Murphos, they are known as mountain folk, and are a constant threat to Adrana. New danger to the party, for they don't take kindly to Adronians, or Dranians, or the Adine. The Murph are a tribe of people in the Gaiavala Mountains, who once thrived in the land of the Adine now. They were those who came before Odysseus, took his people. An interbreeding of man and May caused something ill to happen because it wouldn't work. No, that doesn't work anymore. Making it difficult for... Yeah. Ooh, the history of the Anakame. The tribes of the Anakame are as follows. Fang, Fachu, Jinjing, Sov, Chaowu, Kuano, Intox, Kyo, Nao, Tortak, Vlizen, Aktu, Buktan, and Wraith. These were the people who inhabited Voss. There are only a few that are known today. The Fachu are still active. Wraith and Tortak are immortalized by the founded settlements. We could make up more lore for all these other fucking tribes, but those are the history. That's the Anaki tribes. The land of Voss is full of mystery, more than man would ever know. As man's influence has grown throughout the land, something else has been going under the shadow. In Adrana, each city-state influence grows and people settle from out of the founding cities. Small villages have sprouted up in great numbers. There was a great age of growth in Adrana until the discovery of the barbarian tribes. They were eventually pushed into what is now known as the Murphos. It lies at the arid foothills of the western side of Gaivala Mountains. Well, they did. They migrated to the foothills, then spread out throughout the entire desert, eventually. No one understands if these are Anak or not, because I don't understand that. Are they mankind or not? The ritual of hundreds of years of time long past. Those that have gone missing, their loved ones search in vain. To protect their own selfish needs, they will forever wander or wonder of their disappearance and be destroyed by it. They do not know they have been freed, placed in the fold, beyond our realm. They happily place themselves in what comes next. Each character must enter the void, and they will fail. Oh yeah, that's going into the fold of a page or something. It was something fucking weird that I dreamt about, but I wanted to use in the book. Let me read that again so I can take it in. Those that have gone missing, their loved ones search in vain. They look to protect their own selfish needs, their ideals within their heads of what it is that this person is to them, their child, their brother, their husband. This is what needs to be for them. And so they search for these people, for those purposes. Yet they will forever wonder of the disappearance. And in this thought, they will be destroyed by it. What they do not know is they have been freed, these people they search for. Placed in the fold. They fell into the folds. Beyond our realm. These people have happily put themselves into the idea of what comes next. There, that's kind of like a deeper explanation of it. Reading, I should say. Some of these are like thin, I'm pretty sure, as I looked out. Nacum. Surface, this is the Temiscan Isles. Caliber Control, like Caliber Tinkers and Solgus. Tales of the Forgotten King. Tales of somebody. We got like 3 more of these, and then we'll be done, or maybe 4 almost. So it won't be much longer. In the Ezekiel Sea, the waves crash against the aged wood that had held the vessel together thus far in the journey. Braving the high seas, a mighty storm, and even a close call with some sort of sea creature. This was a mighty fine vessel, handcrafted for kings beckoning. He always was a man of the sea, and put her to the test. Over the 35 years she has rode the waves. I got some of these words I can't read. Though this trip, I guess, this voyage, was especially hazardous, but for good reason. The king was making his way past the Temiscan Isles to the golden coast of the kingdom of Amosa. He would be meeting with the High King Yosef Balim. He had never made a trip to the continent in quite some time, at least not under the pseudo-diplomatic purpose. High King Yosef had written some 4 months ago. My friend, though we have not seen or even spoken to each other in many years, I write to you now because I ask for your aid. This may seem a strange request, but there is no other that I believe would quite grasp our situation, just as assuredly as one such as yourself would. I am sorry that this is very dodgy, but I am afraid it has gotten out of hand. Please see yourself upon the next ship at due haste. I can promise that it will be like the old times. P.S. You were right. The message was most curious, but what was strange was the date in which it was sent. The 3rd era in the year 483. I don't have the months down, but it's the month of, I don't remember, of the 24th, I don't remember. That would mean it was received, that when it was received, it was 1 year before it touched Atria. Yet perhaps it had gone through a treacherous journey itself. He did not put much thought into it, being rather excited about what the discovery could have been, for he knows exactly what the last part meant. 35 years before. Aros had been quietly meditating in his chamber for quite some time before the door had flung open of the cave-in hall. And that's it. Start with the backstory of the pilgrim path, then a bit about the keepers, next jump to the king, Aros and Quinlan conversation. Oh, shit. This is the story of that king. Oh my. That was the beginning story of the king. The father of Quartus, the mentor of Quinlan, and the husband of the voice of life. That was his origin story. Holy shit, bro. Just another little nugget. Okay, that one's got nothing. So we got City of Circes, Telongo, Field of Interruption. Oh. Mankind has ended in the machine now, assumed power, the expansive space. This is like the sci-fi fucking concept that I have for everything that happens after this book. Thousands of years later, the sci-fi version of the book. I might be an old man before I write that. Thousands of years later. So a lot of the book will be space travel, blah, 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 blah. Narration. I wrote that somewhere, and it's actually kind of cool. Must remain silent. And they sang the City of Circes. Oh, that's that song. The land was blighted not too long ago, for the sound of the city has been hushed. What life there was now trapped in the bowl of cessation. The field of interruption, to which Eric feels compelled to destroy. He hopes to save the spirits, but he will eventually find upon its destruction it was all saved a cursed race. All that saved this cursed race. And what the whisper led him to do was shrouding them in darkness. For their light was dampened to ensure darkness may never meet it. What is that? I don't know. No idea. Okay, we got a couple more. Jesus. Keepers with the expansion. This one's so old, I'm scared to read it. No one knows where they started. Okay. Empire. This is what the idea that I was making for something different. One old man punishes each other. Some could say madness. The academy is where the hero is being trained in the courtyard. True. Traveler now can inhabit the Auric Woods. What? The electric stop. A special device halts your enemy. Yeah, that's right. Fucking weird things. Like this book for so many years came out of a dream, most of it, and then all of a sudden it just stopped. It no longer came out of a dream, and then I was just like making sense of dreams. Honestly, that's what this book has become. Oh, you have dreams? Well, let's try to make sense of them with real life. The melting of realms, the unmanifested manifestation. That's where everything comes from. This whole fucking story is a symbolization for my entire life in my 20s. And everything I've been dealing with and like how I view the world and stupid shit like that. Oh, the blockade of knowledge. That's kind of going on in Drana. It's somewhat established, but not really. I mean, I haven't really painted that too well. The dividing wall. You know about that. Drish, I don't really know who they are. They joined together for a reason unknown, yet they play a part in the old world. The man and Naku. Protests. That's fucking old. Cypherus the wizard back in those days. He was a wizard. Now that I know I need to remember the presence of the world does not. Yeah, okay. So nothingness. Is the path unwalked, it is assigned the hero of his destiny, number 22. Only few have seen this number in their day-to-day life. He does not quite know what it means, not to mention the Heartland Express seen randomly throughout his journey. He does not know if he is being watched from afar, the watchful eye of the mysterious one. The hero's thought of a sacrifice to all, the one who can show the way, the one who is alone and experience of real love, yet cannot find it for himself. He looks to bring light and hope into people's lives. He is me, the lone man. Once the attack of the invasion of the Empire. Argentina, 1932. Oh yeah, that was kind of fun. Just blow my brains out in the room in Argentina when there's a rebellion going on. I don't know. Little short story. That's that. All right. Beekeeper's Archive of the History of Atria. The flame boils away what vision the eagle danced before him. Though glistening and strong, he almost wanted to wipe away all the traces and encourage the flame's power. Encourage the light to take away all that were indefinably understood. The light vanquishes what truth we create. Our own mind, though sick, seeks its destruction, as if we know such truths cannot be. These realizations the keepers discovered, knowledge they obtained, and consequently stored away from mankind. Those ancient discoveries of thought always find a way to escape from man. Though truths they may be, misguided and even irrelevant they have become. The keepers with the books of knowledge. They told the tragic tale of descent, discovery, then destruction, showing his fate just as he forged his own destiny. One cannot fully comprehend his power on Atria. He held so long ago, yet it was the keepers who told us of his demise. The keepers, they are not understood to modern man, even when man does not know of their existence. It is only now, with the discovery of their books, that we see a chronicle of the fall of the ancients. Maps show it started in the now. Okay, maps show that it had started in the now known Trinity Forest, deep within the dense trees where a kingdom lie. This is like an old understanding of Entron. It appeared names have lost their meaning, for it was unintelligible to discern the most important name. He was mentioned throughout. In fact, it was his story, his fall, his descent to madness. Though we will never know his name, he has become known as the Forgotten King. I will tell his tale, though even now I am being hunted from within and without. This must be known, for perhaps I could bring back what was lost and even save a friend. Who is this? Story centers on the journals. Okay. I'm missing a few journals, yet it is clear. This is someone reading what I just read. He dove into some great unknown, though somehow he found madness. The darkness is what he called it. No, this is the guy reading the journals of the Forgotten King. The darkness is what he called it. I don't know if this is from the Forgotten King or his lonely scribe. It starts a history, an account, but falls to personal discovery, then grief. He wrote the books he wanted to be saved in a sort of state of person. In a sort of state, the person is transported to some realm, and within this realm is all that can be known. The book describes a longevity that is unheard of, passing through the known 4 ages. When you channel enough energy, you become a conduit. You must brave, quote, his suffering. Then, and only then, will you gain what you are looking for. Each age takes a raw moment of creation. When it when access is gained to the other realm, he describes a cave where experience and memory go. Quote, the lives of many are now but gone. The life experience goes into another realm. The mind of God, the memory, the experience, though, quote, they, unquote, did not know. Your paths, every movement is captured, and you are viewed from another being. After you enter the domain of the sensitive, they inhabit the halls. Though what is seen is not their domain. Yes, it is the same place you walk, but where you inhabit is in your mind, for you only explore your own. These are the sensitive within this realm, the forgotten people. Remember when I was looking for this? I was looking for information about the forgotten people. This isn't the king. He is one man who entered and now is acting through the king. Okay. Children of the Phoenix. I will leave this power to be found by my descendants long from now. He will unlock what I have hidden. It's as if he speaks to me. Descendant, says the man reading the journal. The promise. Fear. Fear's existence in the realm. The king gave unto his people the power of knowledge, ushering in a new age, the second age, the age of knowledge. Though his people really knew what the forgotten king had bargained with, would they still have followed? How does this connection have anything to do with the sensitive? The traitor was said to be the forgotten king. Though his story is a sad one, betrayed, and his only crime was to save his wife. The promise of betrayal. As for the other realm, you must defy death to find the path. The dark dream. Another little bit of lore. Again, tease the idea of the forgotten people. This fucking thing that I'm trying to figure out. Now we're not gonna find out. Here's another little story, apparently. A group of knights were hired by the mayor of Dagladun, to protect pilgrims on their way to the temple of the ancient keepers, the once ancient keepers. These men were known for their exploits across Vas. Upon discovering what hidden cults of people who hold keeper religion they saw as an opportunity to acquire treasures. Though through their tear into the uncharted city they find, at least among the leader heads, a serendipitous moment of clarity, and in time form their own theology of keepers and self-brand as protectors of the ancient ways. Though perhaps they would use fear and even wealth to spread their message and prowess. So they sought through the false worship of the p.2 monks, and in time became a threat that must be quelled. The p.2 looked to Lyria for aid in quelling the knights, yet this set off a chain of events that would change the face of Vas. These men were called the Stone. Oh, the great halls of knowledge men have gathered to shape mankind and seek ascension from the mortal plane in order to break from the whisper's grasp. This is like Ajurix, the head of the father of faith. He was the architect of calibrated control, the last great student of the keepers. To look upon the passion of humanity and serve the true God. The first man in centuries to access the other realm. I don't know what this is, by the way. If this is relevant, we'll find out. The Father speaks of the sweeping darkness that threatens man in his growth. The collective must be absolved and become one under the guide of Father. This is the only way to escape the whisperer's grasp. The whisperer is why he creates doubt, then in turn becomes fear, for there is no faith to hold man. The Father is the purpose of the story. He will guide it with every interaction the characters have within him. We know his purpose now. We must focus on the character. He discovers the men and sees they would be valuable tools, but must change your perspective. He hires them and has them protect pilgrims. He is looking to change mankind, even in his staff. So they have to see the real truth, not what the p.2 teach. Its people do not hold what is really being taught. The only way to change is deconstruction. He gives them purpose. The whisperer is not known across Voss, so his ways are seen as extreme and dangerous. This might be... I don't remember his name, the creator of the Adric's Chantry. Or this is the creation of what would later be known as the faith of the p.2, which born the Serpentine Order. Interesting stuff. Quinlan Shillin. Was that his last name? He is the betrayer of the Forgotten King. For even though the king knew what would happen all along, Quinlan opened... Ooh, that's a Quinlan thing. I can't read it. Quinlan voice. Trade war. Perhaps decipher this. The p.2 were a quiet group of monks. At least the outside world. Their claim of holding truth to the keeper ways wasn't broadcast to the world. But to themselves they held the book of knowledge and worshipped the Forgotten King for a time. For he could be the only one that could defeat the Whisper. Long ago trapped in another realm, they recently discovered the bloodline to devise a way to enter the realm like the keepers of the past. Oh my god. The wars have awoken an ancient evil, an evil that lies deep within the shadow of man. A demon thought to have long ago vanished, yet in truth never. That's the Whisper. Time gave way to myth, and in the darkness was able to grow. In some minds it was always remembered. The first holy order of men, what would be later called the Keepers, sought out the vanquishing of blah blah. That's 4 as well for Quinlan. Cannot read that out either. What the fucking shit? Dude, this seriously didn't even have a sticky note. Like, this sticky note didn't have a sticky... Oh, it did. Never mind. Let me write this down for... This one's for Quinlan. This one's also for Quinlan. And that's it. This is for Quinlan's episode, and the rest of it is done. I have kind of combed through the cool stuff, not like every single thing that was in all those notebooks. Like the yellow, what are those called? Legal pads? And I am done. But it's just kind of like an episode just to keep, people busy until I jump into the next one, which is going to be about Quinlan. I am beginning that one as we speak. I have a page so far, 200 words of questions. There's a bunch of questions. This is going to take me a week to think of Quinlan because I'm going to work tomorrow. But anyway, this is the searching episode, just a little consolidation thing, just random things, random thoughts as I'm doing some research, and I'm going to call it an end on this one. So I will next time. Yep. So yes, anyway, I don't know what happened there, but I'm going to end this one, and the next big one's going to be about Quinlan. But anyway, until next time.